Initially, when I started using the learning platform, I was thinking it was just going to be sort of like an extension of a website. And but the more I've used it, and when you go deeper and deeper into it, it's actually become part of the way that I teach now. The learning platform enables you to sort of use as a department space, as a subject space for pupils, and that's just sort of the initial, when you look at the learning platform, that's what it's like. But then as you go, we call it the interest spaces, the learning platform that we're using. Interest spaces allow you to sort of put discussion boards on there. A lot of the pupils, one of the first things we started to do with them in Year 7 is tell us what you think about your first days at St Peter's, and they all put a comment about how they felt, were they afraid, what they would have preferred to know about before they came in. So that was the initial thing we used. We've never been able to, we could have done that on a questionnaire, but that would have taken ages to filter all that out, and this was done in an instant. The pupils are used to using discussion boards when they go on the internet at home, so we have discussions boards on there, we can have videos on there, just a basic outline of the course, of the actual subject itself. So that's one part of it on the interest spaces. But there's another part called the learning spaces, where you can set up a course, you can set up a mark book. Yes, that's where you set your homework, where you put your feedback on. I've used it with my Year 11s as well, where we were doing a gaming unit, and the whole of the 10 lessons that were all on there with all the resources they needed, and they actually went through that on their own. Some were on lesson 1, some were on lesson 5, and because of all the resources that were on there, obviously I was there to facilitate them, but it was just a fabulous experience where they can go back and refer to that as well. There's calendars on there. There's booking forms, you can book things. I know in school we use it as an ICT booking form when we book IT rooms. There's also, again, we use this for staff discussions on uniform or timetabling issues. There's so much that I haven't really used yet, but there's some things that crop up, and I think to myself, we could actually use that. Rather than doing a questionnaire, we can get the staff to do it here on the learning platform. In fact, what we did do this weekend, we've set up a St Peter's walking club with the staff, and within that I set up an interest space for all those people who want to come into the walking club. Took photographs, did a little commentary, and then we've got a discussion board about where we want to go to next. And I don't think that would have happened actually, because we're all too busy to talk about it in the staff room. We don't go into the staff room very often, we're all busy. So it's really nice to have a discussion about that at home or whatever when you're away from work. I think the benefit for me as a teacher using the learning platform is that I have no paper. I've completely got rid of my diary, my planner, and my mark book is just there on the learning platform, and if I issue homework, it's there, it's recorded, it's in detail, and I can, when I mark pupils' work, I give them very detailed feedback. The other thing is like collecting things in. I don't have to collect anything in because the pupils submit their work online to me, and that saves me a lot of time as well, so I don't lose anything. Some of the pupils, and it's quite, because one of the next units we're doing is making a leaflet, and some of them actually when they're doing a plan, they'll hand draw that. That's okay, because I collect that in and then I just give them feedback via the learning platform anyway. So to me, it's all like everything's in a controlled environment. I've got my diary on there, I've got a private space for me, I've got like files on there, and I can store quite a lot on there as well. I had a case a few months ago of a Year 11 pupil that was underperforming in ICT, and he lacked direction, he'd lost all his work, and it was quite a serious issue because his coursework was due in. I decided then, because we've started to use it with parents, and what I decided to do was to invite his parents in and discuss with them how we'd set him targets every week, and then they would see what targets he'd got and if he's met them and what he needs to do with them. So his mum came in and she was very positive about the learning platform. She thought it was fantastic, and she says, why didn't we have this in the past? I would have loved it. And so now what's happening is his teacher sets him because his teachers is teaching other children, a class of 20, on a different unit of work, because he's got to go back and do the first unit again. So he sets him targets individually every week on the learning platform, and then he will give him feedback on them when he's received that information, whatever it was, a piece of creating a leaflet or whatever it was, an invitation or an e-portfolio. And his parents can then see if he's done it on time, if it's done at a good standard, and it actually really keeps track of that pupil. And I know the teacher said how much more he feels in control now, because he knows the parents are there supporting the pupil and supporting the teacher to try and get the coursework done. And this couldn't have happened. It would have been very difficult to do it without the learning platform. It would have been phone calls home or letters, and it would have been quite long, whereas this is a very 5-minute thing. It's done every week, and we get feedback off the parents as well, so that's good.